And so really bringing your HR partner into the business and giving them opportunities to understand what's going on and treat them more as an extension of your team and less as an auxiliary administrative professional will really make a huge difference.
Welcome to Leadership and Motivation Unleashed, practical leadership for modern workplaces. A podcast where we explore actionable strategies to help you lead with confidence, build cohesive teams, and create thriving workplace cultures.
We're here for the career-focused professionals climbing the corporate ladder, the managers navigating team dynamics, and the leaders shaping the future of work. In each episode, we'll break down challenges, share practical advice, and leave you with insights you can apply today.
I'm Patrick Law, your co-host, a Gulf War veteran with over 26 years of corporate leadership experience in banking and payments, blending precision and innovation with a tad of passion to solve big challenges.
And I'm Rachel Book, a C-suite trusted advisor and an HR leader with 2 decades of experience at Fortune 50 companies, specializing in building people-first strategies and driving impactful talent solutions.
Together, Rachel and I, we combine operational expertise and transformational leadership to bring you real-world advice on leadership, workplace culture, team dynamics, career growth, and anything else that we may want to delve into.
So, if you're ready to take your career and leadership skills to the next level, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
I'm excited about this next topic because it is near and dear to my heart. What we're going to talk about next is how to partner with HR, whether you still call it personnel or people operations or human resources or human capital, right? I feel like the name changes every couple of years or every decade or so. But I think there are many environments and many companies and many leaders that either have a very frustrating experience partnering with human resources. They feel like HR always gets in their way. They're the principal's office. They're their babysitter. They always say no. But then there are other situations where business leaders see HR as a force multiplier, as a true business partner, where they engage them in creative solutions to help optimize the successes of the team. Probably, Patrick, you and I have experienced both types of examples. I'm curious to hear from you how you've approached partnering with HR throughout your career and what usually is the magic bullet or some ingredients that help make that partnership more productive and vice versa.
What's changed over time, right? So in other episodes, you guys have heard me say, I was a pretty wild ass my first 10 years in corporate America. I didn't have a rule book. I worked at places that were privately held or venture capital backed. One of them went public, so I had to learn real quick what bureaucracy was and wasn't. And then one of them was just pure VC, which is just no holds barred, get it done however you can. We did have HR in the building, but I'd say my first 10 years was HR was as you described it. It was the principal's office. It was they're watching or, oh, they're not going to let you do that, so don't tell them. Like those are real things I heard as a young person in corporate America. And that's the lens I came up with. And it's not an appropriate lens. I wish I knew then what I know now, because that could have been so much more effective, because I love the way you use the words force multiplier, because it is. The human performance and talent management aspect of leadership, and no matter what type of industry or environment you're in, military, not-for-profit, for-profit, people are your best asset. And if you're not leading them right, if you're not picking the right ones to join you on your mission, then you're going to mess it up. Now, my first 10 years, gruff is the word. And, I'm still a bit gruff. I still have an edge to me, and I'm very casual, and that throws people off. The best HR partners I've had, when I finally learned how to partner with them properly, helped me be a better leader. They didn't necessarily become my therapist. And there's a few of them that do listen to this podcast from my past. And you met a couple of them, Rachel, since I've joined here. They did somewhat take on a role of therapist. I got a lot going on up here. And as my teams grew over time, Like at the one VC backed company, I had like 100 people working for me. At US Bank, I had 500 people working for me. At Fiserv, I had thousands working for me. That pressure and weight of the mantle of leadership, being responsible for all those people. And if you listen to the Authentic Self podcast, I talk a little bit about human engagement and not messing around with curvature of sentences to try to be fancier than you are. Just say it. Like the dynamic of your words are very powerful. And if you don't have the right partner, not to hold you in check or give you permission, but to help you fine tune your message delivery or to understand the employee experience. When we sold Elan Financial Services to Fiserv in 2018, and I met Carrie Martinelli, who you met, she was the HR partner assigned to that acquisition. And that was the first time in my career. So think about that. That was, what was 2018? 7 years ago? I'm bad at math. And I'm 28 years in. So I was 21 years into my career, 14 at US Bank, the rest at the VC and the privately held business, that I heard the term employee experience. And I think that's telling in and of itself. Like the employee experience should be the center of everything. But I've never heard it phrased like that. Now, were we doing employee experience things all along? Of course we were. But we didn't have a name for it. And we were just going by gut instinct. There was not a purposeful approach to leadership, whether it was a merger and acquisition like the Elan thing into Fiserv or whatever, that centered around the employee. And I think that's a shame. So she kind of taught me how to lead with a partner here, not across the table from me. Because y'all's insight, and I'm going to bring you into it now. What I do at Chuckalt every day, there's no way I can do it without Rachel. First of all, I made a joke and she didn't necessarily like it, and it probably isn't all that funny, but I made a joke to her the other day about throwing myself out a window from frustration. Now, I wasn't frustrated at the time. We were just talking about how we help each other. I help her, she helps me. We're dealing with a lot of heady things, people, revenue, expenses, growth, like all the stuff. There's no way you can do that without a solid partner. Now, some people would say, well, I have a coworker to do that with it. Why does it have to be HR? Depending on the job you're in, I think HR is one of the most pivotal functions in an organization to be successful. It's not the hiring and firing. It's the dynamic of interpersonal engagement. Because if you don't have the people right and you're not right, your people too, it's not going to work. It helps hold off toxicity, misunderstandings. You have to be centered on the people that make a business go. And by the way, everybody, it drives into the client base. Clients can feel when the employee base is stable. Every company I work with, currently or in my past, and some are both, you can tell when an organization is properly partnered and led internally and that the people are center versus the ones that aren't. The customers can feel it. I always said, and if you're a customer listening, you can forgive me, but I've always said customers are like kids and horses. They can smell it. They know what's happening in their room before most people do. So you better be right with your HR partners, and you better find good ones that are people-centered, that are business savvy. Last piece, and I'm going to shut up. A lot of HR people are just trained in the process of HR, hiring, firing, reviews, bonuses, merit, the cycle. The best HR business partners have a curiosity about the business. Rachel Hall's that. Benny Parada had it at Fiserv, Carrie, Molly Warner at US Bank. I'm dropping names. These are really important people in my career that were curious about what we were doing every day. Because if they're curious about what you're doing every day as the business person, they're going to be more effective at their job for you. So if you're just working with a robotic HR person, find another one. How's that for edgy? Or at least seek somebody out that can maybe help them become more curious. Treat them, bring them in. Every staff meeting I've ever had the last 15 years, I had HR sitting at the table because they're not the enemy, they're your partner. And you have to start teaching that down.
That's the key, bringing HR into your business and giving them a seat at the table, right? So even though, of course, HR needs to be centered around the employee experience, what's been interesting over the past few decades is HR has really shifted in many cases, especially in large companies, from being employee focused and more towards being a business partner, right? So HR is empowering and guiding and leading the businesses to best support their employees. And it's less about, hey, I have an issue with my benefits, and it's more about what's your workforce going to look like next year? What are some of the changes in the business that are happening that will impact how our employees are feeling or how they're able to be productive? And so taking the step as a business leader and bringing your HR partner into the table is critical. The first time I had that experience was, gosh, I think this probably in like 2007, 2008. So the iPhone was brand new. I was at AT&T and I was supporting an executive. His name was Abby Ingley. He's actually in Dallas. Patrick, I need to introduce you to each other. Abby, if you're listening, we'll come say hi soon. Abby headed up the Mobility Application Solutions division team at AT&T. So it was the first days of when enterprises and businesses were actually using mobile devices in their workflow. It was for telemetry in hospital beds. It was for field service. It was, the UPS driver, they were just getting rid of their paper clipboards and they were using some big clunky device to be able to scan your packages. And so we were building the sales solutions team to essentially empower that across different industry verticals. And he brought me in as a member of his team. I got to know the business. I got to know their rhythms, their expectations. And it was the most enjoyable for me. And I think the most productive for him and for the team. And we're able to accomplish so much in such a short time because of that. And so really bringing your HR partner into the business and giving them opportunities to understand what's going on and treat them more as an extension of your team and less as an auxiliary administrative professional will really make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's not an admin role if it's done right.
I think the business leaders should recognize that and find opportunities to seek that out. I think HR partners or HR professionals, right? The way to become curious. So I think I had an advantage over other HR people because I started my career in recruiting. And when you're in recruiting, you know a little bit about almost every job in a company, and you get an understanding of how dots are connected between different departments. So you know that business launches a new product or signs a new deal or acquires a new company. You get a sense of, oh, so now they need 12 more finance people and 17 more salespeople. And we need to separate the channel sales from the direct sales. Product marketing is different than other types of marketing, which is really cool. So I got to learn a lot about that early in my career. And I think that has helped me continue my curiosity and be a better partner in whichever business that I'm in. But I think if you're an HR person and you're listening to this and you're trying to think about how to either rehabilitate or build a better relationship with those that you serve, here's the takeaway. Figure out what your strength is and what your sweet spot is and lead with that. And then phone a friend for everything else. No HR person is ever awesome at everything. In very large companies, you'll have centers of excellence, right? You'll be a general business partner or an HR generalist, as we used to call them. And then you'll tap into the COEs for compensation or benefits or talent acquisition or whatever. In smaller companies, you may not have that luxury, but be okay with not being an expert in every single part of HR. Phone a friend, bring in a vendor, consultant, whatever for projects. But lead with where your strength is and where your passion is and go deep. And that, I really believe, will help you establish your credibility and your gravitas, right, as a senior leader at the table.
I love the way you said that. I'm going to tie in our Bring Your Authentic Self to Work episode and say, I should have said it on that episode. I'm going to say it now. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the only way you learn. My mom they were over for dinner last night. And my mom still likes to remind me that the only way I learn is by running into the brick wall with my forehead, probably multiple times. So learn through your mistakes. And look, if you work somewhere that doesn't allow you to make mistakes, you're in the wrong place. Because the only way you learn is by being allowed to make those mistakes. Just don't repeat them again and again and again. And that's a brilliant call out. Like if you're an HR generalist or wherever you are in the org, stick your neck out a little bit. Life's too short not to take a chance to grow. And you may build lifelong relationships. Rachel is someone I'm going to know forever. Carrie Martinelli and I were texting yesterday. Some of these relationships extend far beyond work, and it's from helping each other grow. That's what builds a bond, no matter where you work or how you work. And that leads a little bit into our next episode about relational expectations at the workplace, but that's an important one.
Thanks for joining us. And again, if you have questions, comments, reactions, please let us know. If you're curious about expanding any of these topics, we would love to do a deeper dive. Or if you want to come on as a guest of the show, if you have anything to contribute, drop us a line, let us know.
Yeah, give us topics, guys. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Leadership and Motivation Unleashed. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating and review. It only takes 1 minute and it helps the show grow and reach more leaders like you in search of advice and motivation.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Please remember to share with your friends and family and coworkers, mentors, trusted advisors. This show is for everybody. See you next time.